morning, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of Carers Week this year. It's a little bit different from the Carers Week we expected, which is why we're bringing you some online videos. Today, Liz is going to talk to you about stress and stress busting. Stress is something that everybody experiences, and I know that carers in particular can find their lives can be extremely busy and stressful. So I hope you enjoy Liz's videos.
Thank you, Jenny, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this presentation for Carers Week. My name is Liz. I work for the CREATE team in Bradford, and this morning we're going to be looking at stress and stress busting. So we're going to start with a short definition of what stress is, look at the ways stress affects people, and then come up with some tips to build resilience to help you cope with stressful situations. So first of all, what is stress?
It's a state of emotional or physical strain that you feel when you think that you're not in control of a situation. So when you think that you're not able to cope with something that's going on, you're not able to control it really. Louise Hay describes stress as thoughts running through the body, and I think that's a really good description. We've all been in that stressful situation where we've thought about it, we just overthink it, keep going round and round in our mind, and then we start feeling anxious and nervous, we fidget, we can't concentrate, and that's really what Louise Hay is talking about there, that you overthink the situation, you can't let it go, and then it starts affecting your body and your thoughts, and yeah, you just feel that you're not in control. I think it's worth saying that stress affects different people in different ways. It does affect your mind and your body. So moving on to the next slide, some of the ways that stress affects our minds, bodies and emotions. I think it's fair to say that stress affects different people in different ways. So you may recognise some of these, others you may not, but looking at some of the symptoms, like the physical symptoms, looking at those, I'm thinking of going for an interview, maybe if you're going for a job interview or you've got an appointment that you're really worried about. We've all recognised that feeling when your heart's thumping, you're feeling sick, your legs have turned to jelly and you just don't want to go through with something. Emotionally, you might be feeling irritable and short-tempered. So again, if we look at the example of a job interview, if you know that's coming up and you're worrying about it, you might be short-tempered with your family and your friends while you're concentrating on trying to get over your nerves about that interview. Or you might be feeling anxious or lonely and feeling that people don't know what you're going through. All of these things affect us when we're facing a stressful situation. Psychologically, things like not being able to concentrate and going over and over those negative thoughts to the point that you start making mistakes. I think we all recognise that. Behaviourally, you might be fidgeting more, you might be someone who bites your nails or has that extra cigarette to help calm you down. Stress can affect your eating habits. We've got under eating there. Some of you may recognise that, or you may be a little bit more like me, and when you're feeling stressed, tend to overeat and reach for that chocolate. So as I say, stress affects different people in different ways, but I'm sure that you will recognise some of the ways that stress affects you when you look at these lists. So initially, if you are in a situation that you're finding stressful, I think it's useful to try and accept the things that you can't control and take control of the things that you can. So if stress is about feeling that you're not in control, there are going to be things that you just can't do anything about. And rather than overthinking these and thinking negative thoughts about them, just let them go, accept them. You're not going to be able to change them. It may be that you can do something about them in the future, but right now you don't have that control, so try and let go of them. Conversely, you may be able to do something about certain aspects of your situation, and if you can, get in there and do something about it. It is empowering if you feel that you can take control and you can change that situation. So if there is something that you can do, don't ignore it, don't put it off, go in there and change something. An example of this may be something that a lot of people really might be facing at the moment, is if you are being made redundant. You can't control the situation, can't do anything about being made redundant, but you can get yourself in a better position to look for a new job. So rather than concentrating on the negative aspects of that situation, get your CV up to date. Have a think about, do you need to do some training? Do you need to update your IT skills? Could you look at developing your interview techniques so that when you are actually made redundant and you are looking for that new job, you're in a place where you can move forward and you have taken some control over your situation. So that's how to deal with a stressful situation if that's where you are at the moment. But longer term, if you can develop some resilience that will help you deal with stressful situations in the future and make sure that they have less of an impact on you, it's worth doing that. So I'm going to move on to some ideas to help you build resilience, to help you cope with stress. So, first of all, having some me time. This is about looking after yourself and not feeling guilty about that. If you can set aside maybe a couple of nights each week for some quality time where you can do something that you enjoy and something that will help you build that resilience and take you away from stressful situations. So it might be watching your favourite soap, might be watching a film, going out to the cinema, reading a book. It might just be setting aside some time to have a nice long relaxing bath with the bath salts in there and the candle, and just having that time where you're taken away from that stressful situation, taking yourself away from other people and just doing something to recharge your batteries. And I think it is important to actively set aside that time, maybe put it in your diary, let people know that you're not available on Tuesday evenings, that is your time for you, and don't feel guilty about that. Because at the end of the day, you can't look after someone else adequately unless you look after yourself first and foremost. Second one is connecting with other people so that you're building yourself a support network that are going to be there to support you when you need that support. For some people, that might be a small group of close friends that you feel confident talking to, that you feel you can confide in, talk about your problems, maybe get their advice on that, let them bring a different perspective and come up with some suggestions about things that you could do to help you cope with that stress. Or it might be a group of casual friends that share a similar interest and just give you that space away from your stressful situation, again, to help you recharge your batteries. So it might be doing an evening class, it might be joining a craft group or something like that. It doesn't have to be a group of people that you talk to about your problems in any great depth. It can just be people give you that time away and just let you enjoy that time. Other people can help you see things differently. So, it's worth making the effort to connect with other people. And if in the current situation you're not able to meet up with people, maybe give someone a ring, someone you haven't spoken to for a while, or set up a virtual tea break with someone organise a Zoom meeting and sit down in your living room with a cup of tea and a bun and speak to them in their living room with a cup of tea and a bun. But it's about building that connection with people so that you have got people who can support you when you need it. The next one is about being active. Exercise reduces the emotional intensity of the stress that you're feeling. It helps you clear your thoughts and calm down. It also tires you out, which can help you sleep. So, yeah, that's a good thing. I think when we're talking about being active, it's important to find an activity that you enjoy. There's no point in going to the gym every week if you absolutely hate it. That's not going to help your situation at all. It's probably going to make you feel worse. So find something that you do enjoy. If you do like going to the gym, great. If you don't, maybe going for a long walk, maybe looking up an online yoga session, something like that. It doesn't have to cost an awful lot. There are free resources online. The Joe Wicks video each morning, or the NHS have got a Couch to 5K app if you want to take up running. So, as I say, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it is a useful thing to do. The next one is challenging yourself. When you set yourself a challenge, maybe to learn a new skill, it helps build your confidence, and that in itself is very empowering, and that helps you build resilience. If you can look back and think, I've done this, I'm really proud of it, you can take that feeling and that understanding from one situation to another, and that can help you in stressful situations where you think, hang on, I've got the skills, I can cope with that. So go out and set yourself a new challenge. Do something that you've always wanted to do. It doesn't have to be a massive one. Just be small, baby steps, but anything that helps you feel a little bit more confident. So moving on to something that you might like to try today. There's long been an idea that writing something down can be helpful if you're feeling stressed. People often say, write your thoughts down, get them out of your head onto paper and let them go. So in 2007, Floyd did a study testing that idea. They got two groups of people. One was asked to just jot down any thoughts about anything in any order. The second group were asked to write something about someone that they loved or that they felt affection for. So just put down why they felt like that and why that made them feel positive. Both groups were asked to do this for 20 minutes, 3 times a week, over a period of 5 weeks. And the results showed that the group who wrote something affectionate about someone in their life actually showed a greater reduction in stress than the group who just put their thoughts on paper. So if you want to have a go at something like that, it might be worth doing. It links again with some of the previous things we've talked about building those social networks that support you, and about looking on the positive side and concentrating on things that you enjoy. It also links with the exercise that Jenny did on Monday around looking at 3 good things. So it's all a similar idea, but if you want to have a go, feel free and see if it works for you. So finally, moving on, we'll have a look at some resources that you might like to follow up following this presentation. So some of the resources that I've used, the NHS has a web page on 10 tips for dealing with stress. It's an NHS resource, but it is written by Professor Carrie Cooper, who I mentioned earlier in this presentation. If you want to do something a little bit more practical and a little bit more involved, my Wellbeing College have a range of courses, and again, you can have a look at those online and tap into those. If you feel it's useful for you to take some time out, maybe listen to relaxation tapes, NHS Scotland have got some downloadable tracks that are free to download. You don't have to be in Scotland to access them, and again, access those on the website. And finally, something a little bit different. The School of Life have got a series of articles, which they call the Book of Life, that takes a philosophical look at different things, including a number of essays on calmness. They are quite interesting to read if you want to get a different perspective on stress. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll hand you back to Jenny now, who will tell you about what's coming up tomorrow. Thanks, bye-bye.
Thanks for that, Liz. Tomorrow we're going to be here again at 11 o'clock with Andy, and he's going to be talking about ways to change the way that you think. If you've missed any of the sessions that we have put on in Carers Week already, that was Monday we talked about mindfulness, and Tuesday Tia talked about positive thinking. They are available on the Carers Resource website for you to watch. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.